Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast. Ready for a deep dive into the life of a true icon.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about Naomi Campbell,
All right.
that woman who went from like dancing in a Bob Marley video as a kid to becoming one of the most recognizable faces like in fashion, right?
Yeah, totally. Her story is just like fascinating.
Yeah.
Like a whirlwind of glamour, grit, and you can't deny her influence, right?
Yeah.
She's broken barriers, sparked controversies, and just somehow managed to stay relevant for over 3 decades, which is crazy.
Okay, so like where do we even begin? I guess with the fact that her journey started way earlier than most, right?
Ed.
Most people aren't on MTV
Right.
when they're 8.
Imagine this. An 8-year-old girl, born in London, Jamaican and Chinese Jamaican roots, appears in, get this, Bob Marley's Is This Love music video.
What?
That was Naomi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about an early introduction to the world of performance.
Yeah.
Did that, like, plant the seed for her future career?
Oh, it definitely played a role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went on to study at prestigious theater schools, like focusing on ballet and other dance forms.
Wow.
But it was a chance encounter while window shopping in Covent Garden that really changed everything.
Wait, she was just out and about, being a teenager, and boom, discovered.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Okay, so picture this. 15-year-old Naomi strolling through Covent Garden.
Okay.
And she's spotted by Beth Bolt, the head of Supermodel agency.
Oh, wow.
Bolt saw something special in her.
Yeah.
And just a few months later, Naomi lands the cover of British Elle.
Wow, a teenager on the cover of Elle. That's huge.
Right.
But this was the 1980s. Was the fashion world, like, ready for someone like Naomi Campbell?
That's a great question. The industry was kind of at a turning point.
Yeah.
The rise of the supermodel was putting emphasis on individuality and slowly diversity, right?
Right.
And Naomi's arrival coincided with this shift.
And she didn't just ride the wave, she was breaking barriers, right?
Absolutely. Think about this. She became the first Black model to grace the covers of French Vogue and the coveted September issue of American Vogue.
Wow.
Those were like massive milestones, not just for her career, but for representation in the industry.
Yeah, those covers weren't just fashion statements, they were cultural statements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that her journey wasn't without its challenges.
Right.
We faced resistance from some designers who were hesitant to feature a Black model. It's incredible to think that even at the height of her success,
Yeah.
she still had to fight for equal treatment.
So that's where, like, her fellow supermodels, Christy Turlington and Linda Evangelista, come in, right?
Yes.
I remember reading about them standing up for her.
They were fierce allies, demanding fair treatment for Naomi and refusing to tolerate any prejudice.
Wow.
This trio, known as the Trinity, they became a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
They dominated the fashion world in the late 80s and early 90s, working with like top designers
Yeah.
like Gianni Versace and Azzedine Alia.
It's amazing to think about, like, the impact that they had.
Oh, yeah.
But her career wasn't all smooth sailing. There were those well-documented incidents of, let's call them temper tantrums.
Yeah, her fiery personality and anger management issues led to several controversies and legal troubles, including like assault convictions.
Yeah.
And these incidents, they tarnished her image and they raised questions about the pressures and potential discrimination that she faced throughout her career.
It's a complicated aspect of her story, one that we need to acknowledge. But before we, like, delve deeper into that,
Okay.
let's shift gears and talk about her ventures beyond the runway. She dabbled in music, acting, even writing, right?
Yes.
Like, they had a whole album.
Yeah, her 1994 album Baby Woman was a prime example of her ambition to explore new territories.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The album was so critically panned that it inspired a tongue-in-cheek award called the Naomi Awards for the worst albums of the year. You've got to love a good dose of pop culture humor. You're listening to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast.
Wow.
Hit that subscribe button to not miss any other podcasts on Tell Me More. Now let's get back to Naomi.
Okay.
That album, it wasn't a commercial success, but it speaks to her willingness to take risks and push boundaries.
Oh, absolutely. It shows that even someone as successful as Naomi Campbell isn't afraid to try new things, even if they don't always work out.
Right. And speaking of new things, we should definitely discuss her philanthropic work.
Yes.
Like, particularly her commitment to racial diversity in fashion and her involvement in numerous charitable causes.
Yes.
This is a side of Naomi Campbell that I find truly admirable. Her dedication to causes like the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Breakthrough Breast Cancer.
Yeah.
Like, that's inspiring.
She even organized a Versace fashion show at Nelson Mandela's residence. To raise funds for the Children's Fund, their relationship was truly special.
Wow.
Like Mandela referred to her as his honorary granddaughter.
That's incredible. It seems that she's always had this desire to, like, use her platform for good.
Absolutely. And then there's Fashion for Relief,
Right.
her own charity founded in 2005.
Yep.
They've organized, high-profile fashion shows to support, like, victims of Hurricane Katrina, the Haiti earthquake,
Oh, wow.
the Syrian refugee crisis, to name a few.
But her charity work hasn't been without controversy, right?
Right.
There were those allegations of financial mismanagement.
Unfortunately, yes. Those allegations led to her being banned as a charity trustee in the UK. It's a reminder that even with the best intentions, things can get complicated.
It's a complex situation, but it's clear that Naomi Campbell is passionate about making a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's delve into her personal life,
Okay.
which has been just as fascinating as her career.
I mean, her relationships have definitely been fodder for the tabloids over the years.
From her engagement to U2 racist Adam Clayton,
Right.
to romances with Flavia Briatore and Vladislav Doronin. I mean, she's been linked to some pretty high-profile figures.
And then there's the unavoidable topic of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right.
Her name appeared in Epstein's flight logs, and she was photographed with both of them,
Yeah.
which obviously raised questions.
She addressed this connection on her YouTube channel, stating that she knew Epstein,
Okay.
but was sickened by his crimes and stands with the victims.
Okay.
It's a complex situation that has drawn both criticism and understanding.
It's a reminder that even the most glamorous lives can intersect with, like, darkness and controversy.
Yeah.
But let's shift to a brighter note, her journey into motherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a surprising turn of events, she announced the arrival of her daughter in May 2021,
Oh, wow.
followed by a son in June 2023.
What a beautiful surprise. She's been fiercely private about her children, only offering glimpses into her motherhood journey on social media,
Right.
which is completely understandable.
This actually highlights an interesting aspect of her personality. She's incredibly public,
Yeah.
yet guarded at the same time.
It's like she's letting us see certain parts of her life, like the ones she chooses,
Right.
while keeping others firmly behind closed doors.
Exactly. She's carefully curated her image over the years, revealing and concealing as she sees fit.
It's a delicate balance that she's managed to maintain for decades.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's circle back to her modeling career. We can't talk about her without acknowledging her incredible longevity in the industry.
It's remarkable.
Right.
While many supermodels of her generation faded from the spotlight,
Yeah.
she's remained a constant presence.
It really is, and there's no single answer to explain her staying power, right? It's a combination of factors.
Right.
Her undeniable talent, savvy business acumen, relentless work ethic,
Yeah.
and her willingness to mentor younger models, especially those of color.
And let's not forget that it factor,
Oh, yeah.
that undefinable quality that makes certain people magnetic and captivating.
Absolutely. Naomi possesses that rare combination of charisma, beauty, and confidence that draws people in. She's like an enigma,
Yeah.
a complex and fascinating figure who continues to intrigue us.
She's also a survivor.
Oh, yeah.
Despite the scandals, controversies, and personal struggles,
Yeah.
she's always managed to bounce back.
It's a testament to her resilience and determination. She's weathered the storms and emerged as a true icon, leaving an indelible mark on the fashion world and beyond.
Her influence extends far beyond just fashion. She's become a cultural symbol,
Yeah.
representing beauty, power, and the triumph of the human spirit.
She's a reminder that even those who seem larger than life are still human, with flaws and vulnerabilities, but it's those imperfections that often make us relatable and even more fascinating.
Naomi Campbell is a walking contradiction. She can be fierce and fragile,
Yeah.
glamorous and grounded, controversial and compassionate.
Yeah.
She's a force of nature who continues to defy expectations.
And that's perhaps the most intriguing aspect of her story. She's constantly evolving, pushing boundaries, and challenging us to rethink our preconceived notions.
So, as we conclude this first part of our deep dive into the extraordinary life of Naomi Campbell,
Okay.
what's one question our listeners should ponder?
I think the most intriguing question is this. Despite her flaws and controversies, how has Naomi Campbell managed to remain a relevant and influential figure in the ever-changing landscape of the fashion world?
It's a question that speaks to her resilience, her adaptability, and perhaps even her ability to reinvent herself time and time again. She's a survivor, a chameleon, and a true icon. We'll continue unpacking her story in our next segment.
So we left off talking about Naomi's staying power in the fashion world.
Yeah.
It's really like a testament to her ability to adapt and evolve with the times,
Yeah.
right? Like she understood the business side of modeling early on,
Right.
like building her brand and exploring avenues beyond the runway.
That's true. Yeah, she's launched fragrances, written books, even like dipped her toes into reality TV. It seems like she's always looking for new challenges.
Oh, she definitely has a knack for recognizing opportunities, but let's not overlook her influence in shaping the industry itself, right?
Right.
Remember, like she was part of a movement that pushed for greater inclusivity in modeling.
And she's continued that work by mentoring younger models, especially models of color.
Right.
Like she's passing the torch and making sure that the progress she fought for continues.
That's a powerful point. She's using her experience to guide the next generation, ensuring that the industry becomes like more representative and equitable. But there's another aspect of Naomi's story that I think is worth exploring, her connection to Africa.
Oh, yes. Her love for the continent goes like far beyond her charity work.
She's been a like vocal advocate for Africa, highlighting its beauty, culture, and potential, and challenging the negative stereotypes often perpetuated by the media.
She's even purchased a home in Kenya, calling it her sanctuary. It's clear that her connection to the continent is like deeply personal.
It definitely is. Yeah, she's in Brea, Africa as her second home, speaking out on political issues and promoting African designers, models, and artists. She's truly a like global citizen using her platform to advocate for change and progress wherever she goes.
It's inspiring to see her use her voice to amplify those who are often like marginalized or overlooked.
It speaks to her willingness to challenge the status quo and stand up for what she believes in. And this brings me to something that really struck me
Yeah.
while researching Naomi. It's about her relationship with the late fashion designer Azadine Alia.
Okay.
He was like a legend in the industry.
I've heard so much about him. He was known for his incredible talent and his like unique vision.
He was, and for Naomi, he was like much more than just a designer. She called him Papa, and he was a true mentor and father figure to her.
That's so heartwarming, especially considering her own father was absent from her life.
Exactly. Alaya provided her with the guidance and support she needed, both personally and professionally.
Their bond speaks volumes about like the importance of mentorship in any field. Like having someone who believes in you and champions your success can make all the difference.
It's true, yeah, and it's a beautiful cycle to see how Naomi has paid it forward by mentoring younger models herself. It shows how these relationships can have a ripple effect, creating a network of support and inspiration.
Speaking of inspiration, as we like continue to unravel the enigma that is Naomi Campbell,
Right.
I can't help but think about her like evolution over the years. She's gone through so much, both personally and professionally. How has she managed to maintain her relevance in like such a fickle industry?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer. I think it's a combination of factors. First, she's incredibly adaptable.
Right.
She's constantly reinventing herself, embracing new trends and opportunities while staying true to her essence.
She's not afraid to push boundaries and take risks, whether it's like experimenting with different styles or exploring new avenues for her career.
Exactly. She's never allowed herself to become stagnant, and I think that's a key part of her appeal. She's always keeping us guessing, always challenging our perceptions of what a supermodel can be.
And despite her like larger-than-life persona, she's also managed to maintain a sense of mystery.
Right.
We get glimpses into her life, but there's always a part of her that remains hidden.
That's true. She's very strategic about what she reveals and what she keeps private. It's part of her brand, her mystique, and it keeps people intrigued.
That she's always one step ahead, controlling the narrative.
And she's done an incredible job of building a powerful brand. And he's not just a model. He's like a businesswoman, a philanthropist, a cultural icon. She's carefully cultivated her image, and it's paid off.
It's interesting to think about how she's used her platform to like address social issues. She's been vocal about racial inequality, HIV/AIDS awareness, and the need for greater diversity in the fashion industry.
He's never shied away from using her voice to speak out against injustice, and I think that's something to admire.
Absolutely. She's not afraid to challenge the status quo, even if it means risking her own image or career.
It's a reminder that true influence comes from authenticity and courage, and Naomi has both in spades.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's one key takeaway our listeners should consider?
I think it's this. Naomi Campbell is a force of nature, a woman who has defied expectations and broken barriers throughout her career. She's a complex and contradictory figure, but she's always remained true to herself. And that's something we can all learn from.
So we've talked about her incredible career, her philanthropic work, her personal life, and like her impact on the fashion industry, right?
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. From her early days as like a young dancer to her global superstardom,
Right.
she's navigated the highs and lows with remarkable resilience.
And she's never been afraid to, like, challenge conventions, right?
Right.
Whether it's breaking barriers in the modeling world or using her platform to advocate for causes she believes in.
It's that unwavering determination and her ability to adapt that have kept her relevant for decades.
Absolutely. She's a master of reinvention, constantly evolving and pushing boundaries. And let's not forget that it factor,
Yeah, yeah.
that magnetic presence that draws people in.
She has an undeniable charisma and a captivating aura that transcends the fashion world. She's become a cultural icon, representing beauty, power, and the triumphs of the human spirit.
And despite all the controversies and personal struggles,
Right.
she's managed to maintain a sense of mystery and intrigue.
That's part of her allure. She's carefully curated her image, revealing glimpses into her life while keeping certain aspects private.
It's a delicate balance, and she's mastered it, right?
Yeah.
She's given us enough to keep us fascinated,
Right.
but she's also held back enough to keep us guessing.
That's a testament to her intelligence and her understanding of the power of image.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the extraordinary life of Naomi Campbell,
Okay.
what's one lingering question our listeners should consider?
I think the most intriguing question is this. How do we reconcile the complexities of Naomi Campbell? She's a woman of like immense talent, undeniable influence, and unwavering determination. But she's also been embroiled in controversy, known for her volatile temper and faced criticism for her choices.
It's a question that speaks to, like, the multifaceted nature of human beings, right? We're
Yeah.
all a mix of strengths and weaknesses, successes and failures.
And Naomi's story reminds us that even those who seem larger than life are still human, with flaws and vulnerabilities.
It's those intersections that make her relatable, that make her story so compelling.
Absolutely. And I think her legacy will continue to be debated and discussed for years to come. She's a woman who defied expectations, broke barriers, and left an undeniable mark on the world.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the life and times of Naomi Campbell. Thanks for joining us on Tell Me More Stories Told His podcast.